If you watch my videos regularly, you will know that I have recently had a little bit of a dramatic chop to the old barnet, and whilst I'm kind of hating life with short hair and longing for my long hair to return, it did also inspire me to make a video, so that's just great news for everyone. I haven't really seen this done before, so I don't know whether it's kind of a new thing that I've subconsciously invented, but I'm going to do my hair history and just like show you how I rocked my hair when I was a babe, a wee bairn, then just show you how like all the hairstyles that I've had all the way through growing up as a teenager until we reach this, whatever this is. And all I can say is that this will definitely involve the good, the bad, and the oh dear Lord on the sweet mountains on high, what is that on your head? You think I'm kidding. So if we rewind a few years to 1991, you will find fetus Lucy. She was incredibly blonde, and let's not even mention the fact that she looked exactly like one of these. See, I told you, like, it's uncanny. I think it's a little weird that I basically have exactly the same hair now as I did then. Hopefully I'm rocking slightly cooler jumpers these days. So as I got a little bit older and I became wiser to the world, my hair started to go a bit darker, along with my soul. I don't think anyone is ready for this next photo. I thought I'd managed to burn all of this evidence that this part of my life ever happened, but I went on my mum's desktop the other day and lo and behold, there's a treasure trove of tween Lucy. All the way through my kind of 10, 11, 12 years, I was absolutely digging this. Oh yeah, it's the centre parting low ponytail. I'm pretty sure everybody has had this hairstyle at some point in their life, and I'm also pretty sure that I didn't actually have any other hairstyle for a good 3 years. I was quite content with this and my anorak and my furry gloves. Thank you very much. When I reached the age of 15, I discovered Myspace, and therefore I discovered slightly different hairstyles. Although to say different is probably an understatement, because at 15 I decided that I was going to become a scene kid. And the first thing that any teenager who thinks themselves worthy of being a scene kid needs is a fringe. So one day I went to the hairdressers armed with lots of printed off photographs of all these famous Myspace kids saying, "Turn me into this," and my hairdresser did this. Oh yes. It was incredibly thick, but I did like it. It gave me a lot of confidence, and around the same time as well I ditched the glasses and got contact lenses, and suddenly boys started talking to me. It's amazing what a pair of contact lenses can do for your social life. This is kind of the start of where things started to get a little bit dodgy, but you know, this was okay. It stopped me seeing things a bit, but you can overcome these things. I've kind of learned to live as a blind person thanks to my fringes over the years. After I'd had that fringe cut in, I got a little bit hair happy, and this is kind of where I started to really experiment with my hair. I think I must have been about 16 when I first got these blonde streaks. They were very platinum blonde, and I had one kind of down here in my fringe, which is very edgy, and I had one kind of just like a chunk at the back here. But having these bizarre chunks of blonde hair was just not enough for me, and so I decided to kick things up a whole other level, and I discovered hair extensions. These were the utmost levels of my Myspace days, and all I cared about in the world was picture comments, PC for PC, whatever else we used to do that doesn't exist anymore. You probably don't even know what Myspace is. A back comb was my best friend. I was emotionally involved with hairspray, and a bandana was crucial to my daily routine. After a while, Myspace started to become less and less important to me, thank God, and I decided that it was time for me to bring the hair down to a more human level. So the blonde extensions got ditched, the blonde streaks said bye-bye, and I went all brunette for the first time in ages. I kept the extensions, just ditched the blonde ones. I guess this was a fairly normal hairstyle. The fringe was pretty asymmetric still. Did a lot of back combing still. It's actually probably a miracle that I am not entirely bald. Next up on the list was a side fringe. This was inspired because I started dating a boy who was a little bit older than me, and I wanted to impress him and be really mature. So I decided that a fringe was just too young. When I hit sixth form, it was around the time of Lily Allen's song that came out. I think it was called The Fear. but I was obsessed with how amazing she looked in the video, and I decided that the way to go was a box fringe with black hair. So that is exactly what I did, and I kind of like this hair. Like, I had it for a long time. I had it all the way through like the first year of university, but it was quite hard to maintain. I had to straighten it every day, which isn't great for your hair, and the fringe was so thick as well. It was really hard to kind of like style it right and stuff. So when I got this fringe cut back in a couple of weeks ago, I was really careful to say to my hairdresser, like, please don't give me that again. It was a bit of a nightmare, and I remember like every time I went to the hairdressers, it just used to get thicker and thicker and thicker until in the end I think my fringe came up to about here. When I got to university with this hair, I soon realised that having a hair cut that needs so much styling and attention is a bit of a pain in the arse when you're 2,000 miles away from your hairdressers. You are generally one of the laziest people in existence, and thirdly, you are very cack-handed when it comes to cutting things neatly. So I decided that the fringe pretty much needed to go, and I grew it out. So it took a long time, maybe like 2 years or so, to get it as long as I wanted. But through the time that I was growing out, seeing as I didn't have a fringe to mess around with anymore, no extensions to play with anymore, I decided that I would get the old dye out. So the first thing that I did was, back in those days, ombre was kind of a thing that nobody had really started getting into all that much. I'd seen a couple of bloggers with it, and that's where I got the inspiration from, but it wasn't everywhere like you see it now. So I went into a hairdresser's and asked for it, and they had no idea what I was talking about. So I decided that I would do it myself. And oh dear lord, wasn't that a bad idea. After a serious amount of ginger hair and a serious amount of purple shampoo, I finally made it look fairly normal and got it down to this. But it was in pretty bad condition. I mean, I used to like deep condition it all the time and stuff, but because I just relentlessly bleached it to get it the right kind of shade of blonde, I don't think it ever really recovered. And when I got this haircut the other day, and she cut off kind of maybe 6 inches of hair or something, she did say to me like, you know, this hair is just, this needed to come off a long time ago. And she literally couldn't brush through it when it was after she'd washed it, so that was embarrassing. But I got out the old pink hair dye and did a bit of this. Kind of like this actually, but they were only kind of like semi-permanent dyes, so it didn't last too long. But I am kind of thinking at the moment like, oh, I do really like ombre hair, maybe I should get that again. But I think I would hate myself, so I'm gonna not do that. After the pink and purple had washed out after a few weeks, the blonde started to get higher and higher, until after a while I thought, you know what, I'm gonna do it. So here's me blonde. I really liked it, but nobody else seemed to very much. Everybody used to say to me like, oh, it's nice, but I did love your old hair. One thing I didn't like about it was the regrowth. I used to get, because my hair is fairly fast growing, I used to get really bad roots, and you have to pay a lot of money to get that shit done. So the moral of the story is that I am basically too poor and too lazy for blonde hair. You all saw my old brown hair in my old videos, and if you didn't, you can go and check them out because that would be cool. Recently I decided that a change was needed. My old hair was so long, and as I said, it was in such bad condition. I was kind of fed up of it being so thick and heavy that I couldn't do anything with it. Couldn't even put it in a ponytail because it was just so thick and it would just give me a headache. So I decided that it was time to go short. It was time to do my hair a favour. As I said, I'm kind of hating it, and I always knew that I would hate it, but it did need doing. So now I just start the whole process again. It did take me about maybe 5 years or something to grow my hair as long as it was. So it's a long process, but if you look after your hair properly and you put a bit more effort into it than I did, there's no reason why you'd have to get it chopped off. It's just that I'm such a lazy little goat. So that was my hair history. I would say more embarrassing than your average. But I hope it provided you guys with a good laugh. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, it would be awesome. And also I'd love to see some other people do this, so I might tag a few people down there. But in general, I just tag everyone to do this because I think it's a cool thing to do. Bye!